Hello, teachers. Andrea Gerhardt here, and Lisa and I want to first wish you just a wonderful Thanksgiving break. We hope that you get to spend it with just your precious close family and that you get time to rest and relax and refresh during this just crazy time. This video will highlight what NMSI is asking of us during week 3. Okay, so the goal. NMSI has prioritized the tech platforms of Nearpod and Pear Deck. You may use your 1 hour of time for the class to get familiar with one, with both, or just keep exploring a tool that you are really comfortable with and you think will match the idea you have for your lesson and interactive activity. We'll ask you to actually communicate with us what tech tool. Now, if perchance you are in person 5 days and you have something else that you would like to do, and you can do a paper activity or have something else in mind, please, we support you in that. But in this time of a lot of remote instruction, that's why NMSI is asking this of us. You'll communicate what the learning objective and science practice is, and a little bit more about the lesson that you're thinking of doing in the discussion board. And of course, there'll be a progress check. Okay, so during week 2, you created a discussion board post communicating the learning objective and science practice in Unit 4, or potentially outside of that, depending upon where you are in the curriculum in your classroom. Keep that in mind as you're exploring these tech tools, because you're trying to think, what can I do to satisfy that learning objective, really help the kids on that science practice regarding that topic, and so on. So keep that in mind. However, we definitely want to communicate that as you're exploring these tools, if you change your mind, that is okay. The most important thing is that you end this course with a project or an activity, a lesson that you've created that you are excited about, and you know your students will be excited about, and that you really think will help with their understanding of a certain portion of stoichiometry, of reactions, of particulate diagrams, of some concept in lab, and so on. Okay, now in the week 3 resources, and so I pulled this right out of Blackboard. So about halfway down in the week 3 page, there are numerous resources, but there are learning modules. So if you open up the Nearpod module, it is beautifully written. You can tell a teacher made it for teachers, and it gives you the kind of benefits of that specific platform. So what does it offer? And how do you register for a free account? How do you create something to use with students? And then how do you launch it with students? So all the supports that you need for Nearpod, and then another one for Pear Deck. So we know too, there's a lot of YouTube great videos, but this is already made for you. And it really nicely has narrowed down the things that we need to know as teachers instead of fielding through different YouTube videos. Very well made. So there's already for you what you need to really kind of get a good introductory in and out. How do I do this? Is it really worth it? What kind of things can I do with my students? Whenever you open up those learning modules, this is what they'll look like for you. Okay, but I also want to call your attention because, of course, NMSI's mission is to make these very challenging but rewarding subjects accessible. So we want to make sure that our lessons are culturally relevant and that are scaffolded to really allow the children in our classroom to achieve success with engagement and effort. You should be enrolled in the AP Chemistry library. So too, as you're getting to know these different tech tools, you might think, oh my goodness, I remember learning about this lab that was an NMSI lab, or I remember this teacher story lesson. Well, you can go into that library, and if you want to, focus on Unit 4 or reach outward depending upon where you are in your curriculum. Now, so this week, we're getting to know a tech tool. And if you want to get started on your lesson, you definitely can, or your activity. Next week will all be a work time and time to ask us questions and get each other's feedback. Now, I want to make sure that we're communicating that the idea for week 5, and week 5 will happen the week of December 7th, the second week in December. So depending upon your school calendar, you may have just another week before winter break, or 2 weeks, or a week and a half. It all depends on what, of course, our school districts choose. But December 7th. So that's to keep in mind too, kind of where will you be in about 2 weeks? Because ideally, you're using this with your students. And then you're going to self-reflect and share kind of successes and maybe hiccups. So keep that in mind, whenever you're filtering down exactly what you want to do. But the library can be a resource for you as well. Again, so on the 26th, we're celebrating Thanksgiving. The following Thursday when we meet, it will be time to develop your activity. So just want to remind us. So for week 3, you're dedicating an hour-ish and getting to know Nearpod or Pear Deck or both, or getting to know a tool that you've been using or maybe you've heard about or a fellow friend is using. We're encouraging you to go ahead and create an account, not asking for you to pay. So usually the free have enough perks that we can really use and make good things for our kids. If you want to get started on your interactive presentation, activity, lesson, activity, lab, you definitely can, but know that on December 3rd, you'll be given work. So we're asking you to definitely get familiar with a tool and create a free account if you feel comfortable doing that. But for the points for the week, you need to create a discussion post. You'll go into discussion post, you will click on what would be week 3, and you're communicating what tech tool that you're going to use, and then what lesson. So you've already identified the learning objective and science practice. Well, now what lesson? So is it going to focus on balancing redox reactions? Or are you going to enact what Lisa shared about rice tables? Are you going to do something with particulate diagrams? So there's just a multitude of different things, but you're going to put it down in writing for us just to, give us a little bit more of an idea of what's to come. You need to make sure that you also do the project progress check and the exit ticket. So getting familiar with the tech tool, you are creating a discussion post, communicating the tech tool, and just a little summary of more of the lesson you're thinking of doing, your activity, and then doing the progress check and the exit ticket. And all of that is in week 3, that page of the Blackboard, but the discussion post, remember, you will click on discussion post that's in the left-hand tab. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Lisa and I. Again, we wish you just a wonderful Thanksgiving break, and we look forward to seeing you on December 3rd. Take care.